before you're seated, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the evidence you're going to provide in the hearing of this case is going to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I will.
All right, thank you. Please be seated and give your attention there to Ms. Hart.
Can we get you to introduce yourself to the jurors, please?
Rhett Roberts.
And Mr. Roberts, how are you currently employed?
I'm currently employed at Irwin EMC as the IT manager.
Okay. How long have you had that job?
In a couple of months, it'll be 15 years.
I'm going to take you back to October of 2005. Where were you working at that time?
Irwin County High School.
In what capacity?
I was a high school math teacher and football and baseball coach.
Did you know Tara Grinstead, the victim in this case?
Yes.
And how had you met Ms. Grinstead?
We met as co-workers, as both being teachers at the school, and we went out on a few dates.
Okay. Do you recall the time period in which you and Ms. Grinstead went out on those dates?
It was the spring and a little bit of the summer before she went missing.
Do you recall whether or not you saw Ms. Grinstead on October 22nd, 2005, the night of the sweet potato pageant?
Yes.
Now, to clarify, were you at the sweet potato pageant?
I was not at the sweet potato pageant.
Where were you located when you saw Ms. Grinstead that evening?
I was at my home, just grilling out and watching college football games.
At your home, what watching college football, Mr. Middle Park?
Grilling, just grilling out.
Okay. Was anyone else at the residence with you?
No.
How did you know that Ms. Grinstead was going to stop by before she got there?
I did not.
When she got there, did she call ahead of time, or did she come knock on the door? Tell us what happened in that.
I was inside at the time, and I just heard a knock on the door, and went and opened it, and it was her.
Did Ms. Grinstead come into your home that evening?
She did not.
How long was she at your residence?
Probably around 5 to 10 minutes.
And during that time, did you and she speak?
Yes.
Where were you located physically when you were having that conversation with her?
I stepped outside of the front of the house, and we had a conversation out there.
Do you recall about what time of night it would have been that she came by your residence?
I was watching college football, and it was like halftime of one of the games, so it was around 8:30 or so.
Was it dark outside, light outside? Do you recall?
I think it had just gotten dark.
Just got dark. And I know it's been a long time. Do you recall what she would have been wearing that evening when you saw her?
I don't know exactly. I think she might have been in blue jeans and maybe something like comfortable, like a white blouse.
Okay. I'm going to show you a picture. Show you on the screen in front of you what's already been entered as State's Exhibit 2. Now, have you ever seen this particular picture before?
I don't believe so.
To your knowledge, do you know if she was wearing an outfit similar to this or not similar to this, or do you not recall?
Probably be similar to that.
At the time that, let me ask you, where were you living at the time?
600 West 2nd Street, a house in town.
Now, are you familiar with the residence where Ms. Grinstead was living at the time?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with that residence?
Actually, my father rented her the house.
So had you been in that residence before she moved in?
Not before she moved in, no.
How far was your home at the time from her residence?
A few blocks.
In which direction?
I would say that would probably be southeast.
Southeast. If you were leaving your house back then, tell us what road you would take or how you get to her home. Do you recall?
I'd probably come up 2nd Street, and I can't remember the exact road that house was on.
And about how long did it take you to get from your house to her house?
Probably a minute or so.
When she left your home, do you recall, was she driving?
She was driving, yes.
And what kind of vehicle was she in?
She was in her white sports car.
Was anyone else with her when she was at your home?
No.
Do you recall in which direction she headed when she left?
I believe she went west.
Would that have been towards her home or away from her home?
That would have been away from her home.
Just a moment.
Sure.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Any cross-examination?
Yes, thank you, Judge. Good afternoon. Good morning, Mr. Roberts. How are you?
Doing good.
Do you remember if Tara kept the car clean?
I don't remember being in her vehicle.
Okay. Do you remember seeing her vehicle when she drove it?
Yes. I mean, I would imagine she would keep it clean.
And the night that you saw her, that you just testified about, you saw her in her vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember any mud on the tires?
No.
Do you remember an incident where you were at a ballpark with her and she indicated she was scared of Anthony Vickers? Object, hearsay. And that's what she said. She said if he remembers being there when she was actually scared, not what she said. Judge,
Didn't you just ask me what she said?
I did not. I said if she was scared, or I said that she indicated she was scared. But I can rephrase it to make
Please,
sure.
I sustain that objection. Please rephrase your question.
Without saying anything that Ms. Grinstead said to you specifically, do you remember being at a game where somehow you sensed that she was scared of Mr. Vickers?
Yes.
And do you remember some incidents between Ms. Grinstead and Mr. Vickers? Judge, I'm going to object at this point, lacking foundation for his knowledge. Sounds like it would be hearsay. His foundation for his knowledge, Judge, is the exact question I asked.
Well, I think you can ask him that question and we'll see what the response is. So I will rule that objection.
Are you familiar with an incident
Am I familiar with one?
between Ms. Grinstead and Mr. Vickers?
For a fact, I don't know, and I've heard rumors, but it's only rumor.
Thank you.
Any redirect, Ms. Hart?
Did the incident that they're discussing and that they're asking you about, the information that you had about Anthony Vickers and her being scared of him, how did you get that information?
I just felt like she was walking briskly toward, the car and was just trying to avoid a situation.
Did you hear her say anything? Is that how you knew what it was about, or was it just an assumption that you made?
It was probably an assumption.
Okay. And that particular incident, was that after you had heard rumors about something happening at her home with Anthony Vickers?
At that point, I'd known nothing about it.
Okay, so this would have been before. How long before she went missing would that incident at the ball field have occurred?
Well, it was a high school game, so it would have to be the spring.
In the spring?
Yes.
And so we're talking about just 6 months before she went missing in October of 2005?
Yes.
No further questions.
Any follow-up?
Thank you, Judge. Do you remember when you first gave, I believe it's Special Agent Murray, an interview in this case?
There's been 2 or 3. Which one's Murray?
The first one, November 3rd, 2005 at 4:15 p.m. with Special Agent Carl Murray at your residence in Osceola, Irwin County. Do you remember that?
I believe so.
And do you remember telling him that there was an incident when you first started dating Ms. Grinstead between Vickers and Grinstead? Do you remember telling him that?
I don't remember. I mean, that interview's been 15 years.
Okay. And so, do you think that the notes from that interview would probably be more reliable than your memory at this point?
Yes, I would say that the notes from any of my statements would be better than my memory.
So if the notes indicate that you told Agent Murray about an incident between Vickers and Grinstead at the ball field, do you have any reason to dispute that?
I have no reason to dispute it.
And if you told the agent about an incident where Vickers showed up at Grinstead's residence at night, banging on her door, trying to get in contact with her, would you have any reason to dispute that?
I wouldn't.
And if you told the agent that you recalled a time where you were physically with her at a baseball game and standing by her when Vickers approached her, would you have any reason to doubt that you would say that?
If it's written down in my statement, that's probably what I was recollecting at the time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Ms. Hart, anything further?
I
No.
In this particular case, how many times were you interviewed by law enforcement?
At least 4 or 5, possibly more.
Would it be fair to say that at one point you believed you were a suspect in her disappearance?
That would be correct.
No further questions.
All right, Mr. Roberts, thank you for your testimony, sir. I'm going to excuse you at this time. Only thing I'm going to ask you is please don't discuss the testimony you've given to this jury this morning with any other witness in the case until our case is concluded, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. You've been excused.
Am I released?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.